Hello everyone and welcome back to week 4 of the UDL Season 4 Draft League. This week we are up against the ever-fabled Tristar, coach of the Midas Mudsdales, who, if we see here, have a very interesting trapping team. We have Urshifu Rapid, Alcremie, Golurk, Tauros Paldea Blaze, Mandibuzz, Charizard Luminion, Ogerpon Grass, Gothitelle, Mismagius, and Apom. The first thing I want to bring up is this is our first time fighting someone from the Division B, which means we could be facing off against people. We could be facing off in this matchup against someone who has Pokemon that we've fought already before. Now, with this coach, we don't. However, it was a possibility, because both Ogerpon grass forms were drafted this season because it's only an A tier, whereas the Fire Mask and the Water Mask are an S+. Which, pretty good value, not gonna lie. Whatever stuff is interesting about this team. Well, it's got Urshifu Rapid Strike, so that's something we always have to take it, be prepared to face. Golurk has no guard and is able to just throw off strong stuff like Dynamic Punch. Alcremie is able to be set up, and next to Gothitelle, it might be where I have a lead that isn't good into set up Alcremie, and then Alcremie is just next to Gothitelle, and then I can't get my Pokemon off the field so that I can get a different Pokemon into face Alcremie. Mismagius provides support with Will-O-Wisp, Mandibuzz provides Tailwind. I don't know what Luminion does, I'm not gonna lie. Another thing to mention about Ogerpon base form is that it gets Defiant, so Crocodile looks a little weak here, and Charizard is just a good fire type for them to have, although they already have Tauros Fire. Looking further at the breakdown, we see some interesting stuff. A lot of Pokemon weak to electricity on this team. Urshifu, Mandibuzz, Charizard, Luminion. And the only resistances are Ogerpon Grass. Why are my eyes closed? I am not blinking. Stop blinking. Hold on. Stop blinking. I am not blinking. Okay? We'll see if that worked. What was I saying? We have quite a few Pokemon that can be weak to electricity that my opponent can bring, which is something that we can take advantage of. And then we also have quite a few Pokemon weak to Ghost, with the only resistances being Mandibuzz and Ambipom. So Shadow Ball Raikou looks good this week because it covers for pretty much everything, as it'll Mismagius won't, not Mismagius. Mandibuzz might resist the Shadow Ball from the Raikou, but it's gonna get hit hard by the Thunderbolt. Grass doesn't look too good this week. A lot of teams end up having a lot of grass resistance in draft. Rock is interesting here because you only have Golurk and Urshifu to resist it with a crippling 4x weakness on the Charizard. And that's pretty much it in terms of typings. So what on my team looks good into my opponent? Well, I think Milotic is actually really good here as a bulky water for me, especially since if I go like max bold, nothing on their team's really able to hurt Milotic that well except for Ogerpon. And while Ogerpon is an issue, a very big issue, I think Milotic will be fine. I originally thought Gardevoir looked really good for this matchup in a Choice Spec set, but the more I looked at my opponent's team, and I'm like, wait, this team has a lot of very threatening physical attackers. I looked over at Gardevoir's base defense stat and realized, yeah, this isn't a good idea. But, spoiler alert, we will be bringing the Gardevoir despite that, but in a different role. I don't want to bring Crocodile into their team, although the Intimidate is pretty useful. They only have one ground weakness with 3 immunities and a resist. So Crocodile doesn't look too good on the ground angle, and I could always bring dark coverage on something else if I want dark stab. Although that means I don't get dark stab if I'm using coverage. Doesn't matter. Hitmonlee looked interesting here, however, just not enough is weak to fighting, and you have plenty of resistances here. You have 3 resistances and 2 immunities. So while fast fake out is nice because it's faster than burst fake out, it's not something that I can really afford to bring. Then we had Stantler, and Stantler is just not really good for this matchup. Too many fighting types, too little usefulness of its kit. And I didn't want to bring Grookey to this matchup because I don't want to give their Ogerpon a potential chance to use Grassy Glide. Is it likely that I'll be using Grassy Glide? No, because they'd be relying on me to bring Grassy Terrain. But I don't want to even entertain that idea. So with that in mind, this is the 6 that we went with. Starting off with Milotic with a Terra Dragon for defensive Terra, Rocky Helmet, Scald, Alluring Voice, Ice Beam, and Protect, with 252 defense, 180 HP, and 76 special attack. Pretty bulky on the defensive side for Milotic this week because of the rapid amount of physical attackers on my opponent's side of the field. Alluring Voice can 2-hit KO most Urshifu sets, if not all Urshifu sets, even with only 76 special attack. And while Ogerpon is scary, I'm hoping Terra Dragon is going to be a good workaround for that, because my opponent only has Fairy type coverage aside from the Alcremie. So while Play Rough from their Ogerpon is a risk, a very big risk, I might add, I am expecting it to not show up because I don't have a Dragon type on my team normally, unless I Terra. So that's why the Terra Dragon, I think, is my best defensive Terra here. It also should be pointed out now that my opponent and I have already agreed to do Open Terra for this matchup. So we will know each other's Terra types going into the set. So that is another reason. Stop blinking! That is another reason why I am going with this set. Because Terra Dragon looks good into my opponent's team. Maybe they try to prep for it once they see it when we get into the match. Next up we have Gardevoir. And as I mentioned, Gardevoir is coming in a different role than initially planned. With a Choice Scarf Trick Set with Dazzling Gleam, Mystical Fire, and Thunderbolt. With just enough speed to outspeed Jolly Ogerpons. So, Gardevoir is always outspeeding Ogerpon, which is my opponent's fastest Pokemon, barring they bring a Choice Scarf. And Mystical Fire should 2-tap it unless it's a bulky Ogerpon, which in all honesty, it could be because this Ogerpon is able to run any item, so it could be a Follow Me set. Because Grass isn't that great of an offensive type into my team, so it might be a supportive Ogerpon, but we'll see. Terra Ghost to be immune to Fake Out, and to, I don't know, be immune to close combats. We already quad resist close combat, but being immune to close combat isn't exactly something I don't mind. Next up we have Ogerpon, and we're going to be a Jolly set. We're going to be Terra Fire, of course, because we can't be anything else. Ivy Cudgel, Hornleech, Knockoff, Spiky Shield. I originally had Quick Attack on this set. And that sounds weird, right? Well, I originally thought, going into this... that's another thing I should mention. We are not max attack on this Ogerpon. We are going to be max defense, because if we Terra Fire, we'll get an attack raise. I originally had Quick Attack here, because I was hoping for into a Urshifu Focus Sash lead. Hornleech into Quick Attack would KO. However, no, it doesn't. Well, I mean, if I do Terra Fire Ogerpon during the match, then Quick Attack would KO it. I And by KO it, I mean guarantee KO it, because there is technically a chance that Horn Leech into Quick Attack would KO an Urshifu without any bulk. But I'm relying on 2 high rolls to do that, and I was really hoping to get a set where I never had to rely on high rolls. But unfortunately, I couldn't. So I went knockoff instead to deal with Mismagius and Golem. Well, not really Golix, but Mismagius. Maybe I switch Quick Attack back in. I don't think I do. Next up, we have Braviary. And one thing that I didn't mention about my opponent's team, but I think is very interesting, is they have a few weaknesses to flying, and then no flying resists. So a Power Herb Sky Attack, maybe even Terra Flying for extra damage, is going to do a lot into my opponent's team without any really good way to resist it. With then a Acrobatics afterwards cleaning up because, well, I ate the Power Herb thanks to Sky Attack. We do have Tailwind on this set because this is another week where my opponent is, on average, faster. However, their faster mons are Pokemon that are a little harder to bring into Braviary. Of Mismagius and Tauros, and even Charizard is a little hard to bring into Braviary. And Ogerpon is also very hard to bring into Braviary. So, while my opponent is on average faster, their Pokemon that are faster than Braviary don't really want to stay in against Braviary. So I should be able to get a pretty safe Tailwind off. So being max speed is actually way easier than it looks, even though I'm not that fast at max speed. If that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense, and it's all just playing around in my head as the bolts fall out from all the loose screws. But I am absolutely sure it'll be fine. Next, we have Iron Treads with a Terra Fairy. We want Terra Fairy to pressure a Urshifu lead into Iron Treads. Because like I said, we're doing Open Terra for this week. And while Terra Fairy isn't Iron Treads' best defensive Terra for this matchup, it does allow me to bluff having Terra Blast at Team Preview, which I think could make my opponent make a decision that they otherwise wouldn't make if they weren't fearful of a potential Terra Fairy Terra Blast from Iron Treads. Instead, we're rocking Earthquake, Ice Spinner, Rock Slide Protect with a booster energy and attack. Now, I have Earthquake, even though, like I mentioned, most of my opponent doesn't look good for Earthquake. So honestly, do I switch it out for... I'll put Aqua's Power instead. My thought process around the Earthquake is, if it's next to Braviary, then I could get some good chip damage, especially with an Adamant Nature. Not Adamant Nature, but an attack boosted booster energy. But if I'm honest, like I mentioned when we went over the type matchup, they have a lot of immunities to ground, so it's probably not even worth it. We have Ice Spinner for Ogerpon. We have Rock Slide for the Charizard. And of course, Protect just to Scout. Now, I'm sure you've noticed, every single mon so far that has the ability to run Protect has run Protect. And you might think that that is a bit of a risky move choice to go into an Urshifu team. However, the reason I'm going for it is because it doesn't look that great into an Urshifu team. If I'm not expected to Protect, then it is that much more surprising when I do Protect. If that floats your boat. Floats mine. Last up, we have Raikou. Now, Raikou's been a very good Pokemon for us this whole season, and I expect it to be pretty similar here in Week 4. We are Terra Ghost to be immune to close combats, and while we are already immune to Fake Out, It also gives a stab on Shadow Ball for us to deal with Golurk. And Raiku's set is Life Orb with Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Volt Switch, Extreme Speed. Extreme Speed is for the Sash Urshifu. Now, granted, it could not be a Sash Urshifu. It could be Mystic Water Urshifu. However, due to me having a very bulky electric type, I doubt it's going to be Mystic Water. I assume it's going to be the Focus Sash. And we just outspeed max speed Urshifu on Raikou. So we'll always be faster than it. We'll always be faster than Tauros as well, which is good to have. And we just went with max defense to try and be as bulky as we can. I was originally thinking of doing 4 electric attacks Raikou here with choice specs. But if I'm honest, this really isn't the team to go full memes against. They have an immunity and a few resistances to electric. So I don't want to be caught onto a scenario where Raikou isn't doing much damage into my opponent. Specs Raikou is really good when your opponent doesn't have any resists to electric. But my opponent does have resists to electric, so that's not really what I'm going to be going for this time. So instead we went with Life Orb to do a little more damage, since we are sacrificing a bit of just damage in order to go into bulk. But anyways, that will do it for the team breakdown this week. I thank you for watching, and I will see you when we get into the match. Peace. Interesting team lineup. No Miss Magius and no... what's it called? No Alcremie and no... what was it that I was worried about? Tauros. So, we actually... I had the wrong team! Oh, cause oh, okay, I see what happened. They sent it as Reg G. Okay, there we go. Okay, that was nearly bad. I completely didn't notice that. So when looking at this team, I think I want to lead with... I think I lead with Raikou into this team. And then I send with Gardevoir, maybe? What Terras are we dealing with? Urshi's water, Ogerpon is grass, Charizard is fire, everything else is dragon. So I think we go with... Do I lead with Milotic? I don't think I do. I think I lead with Gardevoir and do you and you. We're gonna trick the Gothitelle, hopefully locking it into Fake Out. Might be a little early to blow my Terra here, but I think Terra Ghost is fine. Ooh. Okay. That's stuck going for Trick Room. The Ogerpon switches in. Dynamic Punch. Oh, he gets the confusion. Ah, that's rough. Rough. That is rough. Hold on, it's Life Orb? It is Life Orb. Dang. Wait, it's... even with Choice Scarf, it's the slowest thing on the field? Ugh. This is rough. And I am not very defensive. Oh, he gets the Spadef drop. Yeah, this ain't working. Okay, we'll go to game 2. Okay, so the Choice Specs Gardevoir, we're gonna leave off the field. I think we're gonna do Braviary, because I want to be able to get rid of my item. Screw it. It's a Charty Berry. Okay. I'm glad I didn't waste my Terra. Kinda wish I had Raikou now. We're gonna go for the Tailwind. Surging Strikes into Urshifu, that makes sense. Gonna have to Terrafire here. Protect. Shoot. Should have seen that coming. Charizard goes down. What's last? Golurk. We know Urshifu can't protect. It could be Aqua Jet. You know what? I think I have to do this. Predict the Aqua Jet. It's Terra Water. Oh no, they go for Surging Strikes. Dang. They got me. Yeah, GG. I was expecting an Aqua Jet. GG. Oh well. Can't win them all. That was a... Oof. Is there something I could have done differently for this? Probably brought Raikou in. Nah, because Raikou would have lost to V-Goler. Oh, they had U-turn, no Aqua Jet. Aw, man. Oh, well. Can't win them all. I guess Braviary wasn't the bring for game 2. I probably should have brought Raikou instead of Braviary. And game on the turn where I lost Braviary. Nah, I think I needed to try and go for the Tailwind there. Anyways, I thank you all for watching. We didn't get the win, but maybe we can bounce back next week. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.